In this video, we are going to give a very basic introduction to social stratification, which is oftentimes also referred to as inequality. Social stratification is this notion that society ranks categories of people into groups, that we are in a hierarchy with some people on top of others, with some people having more power than others, more resources than others, more influence than others. This idea that we are not all equal, that society ranks us into groups, unequal groups. According to Karl Marx, the main way this is done is through property. Those who own property and those who do not. Those who own the means of production, and then those who are simply workers. However, most conversations of stratification don't rely simply on this notion of property, but rather on a notion developed by Max Weber. For Max Weber, the key aspects of stratification are wealth, power, and prestige. These are the three components of social stratification: wealth, power, and prestige. And depending on what book you're using, wealth may be referred to as property. So let's discuss each one of these, starting with wealth. Again, wealth is also known as property. Wealth is not the same as income. Income is paychecks, investments, etc. Very limiting. Wealth is far more inclusive than just income. Wealth is your income plus property minus debt. Income plus property minus debt equals wealth. This is the first component of social stratification. The next component is power. Power is the ability to influence others, the ability to influence the behavior of others. Power can stem from a variety of places, but perhaps most notably, wealth and prestige. After all, wealth, or property for that matter, grants a certain degree of power to people. Imagine if you are a factory owner. You have that piece of property. Well, in being a factory owner, you also have power over your employees. Or let's say you have prestige because you're a doctor. Well, with that prestige comes a degree of power over your patients. Regardless of where power stems from, be it wealth, property, or prestige, power is this idea, this notion that you have the ability to control or influence the behavior of others. And lastly, the third component of stratification is prestige. Prestige can stem from a variety of places, such as an individual's job. For example, teachers have a high level of prestige, depending on who you ask, but can also be based on your abilities, such as athletic abilities in sports. In sports. There we go. And it can stem from various types of occupations. Different occupations come with it different amounts of prestige. Now, prestige does not necessarily relate to importance. After all, sanitation workers don't receive a great deal amount of prestige, yet their job is incredibly important for a modern society. Some individuals will have high wealth, high power, and high prestige. Others might have low wealth, low power, and low prestige. And others still might have a mixture of high and low power, wealth, and prestige. Which brings us to our next idea of status. Status is also based on wealth, power, and prestige. These three combined, wealth, power, prestige, create status. When an individual has wealth, power, prestige at different levels, they have status inconsistency. When the elements of an individual's status, wealth, power, and prestige are spread out, this is status inconsistency. Likewise, when they are all on the same level, high wealth, high power, high prestige, that would be status consistency. If somebody has low wealth, low power, low prestige, all equal, all low, that is status consistency. But if they are spread out, if they are unequal, then it is status inconsistency. For example, a doctor. Doctors have high wealth, high power, and high prestige. Would that be status consistency or status inconsistency? Well, it's all high, so that would be status consistency. Or perhaps teachers. Teachers have moderate to low wealth, moderate to high power, at least in a classroom, and moderate prestige. So not all equal, spread out somewhat. Will that be consistent or inconsistent? Well, that would be status inconsistency. And next, lawyers. In terms of power, lawyers have a moderate to high degree of power. In terms of wealth, a high degree of wealth. And prestige, well, that could be moderate, low, or high, depending on who you ask. In the end, how we rank wealth, power, prestige for occupations may vary. But if they're all high, that's consistent. They're all low, that is consistent. When they are unequal, when they are spread out, that is status inconsistency. Now, chances are your book will discuss different types of societies, such as slavery, estate, class, meritocracy. Consider for a moment, what types of societies are more likely to have status consistency, and what types of societies are more likely to have status inconsistencies? As you read your textbook, consider that question. And consider, if your book discusses it, open versus closed societies, and how that might influence status consistency and status inconsistency.